Hello. Hello. Welcome to this corner of the internet and also this corner of my bedroom where I've decided to sit down. My name is Lucy and we're going to talk about books. Is that okay? Don't tell me if it's not okay because I don't want to hear it. We're going to do it anyway. Today I'm going to do a little known tag on BookTube called the mid-year freakout tag because it's the middle of the year and I'm freaking out. Congratulations, Lucy. I'm just gonna do the video. I think I'll probably do like the BookTube newbie tag if anyone wants to tag me in it. Past me is tagging future me in the BookTube newbie tag so you can learn more about my fascinating self. But for now, let's stick to the programme. I wish I was drinking a nice smooth glass of red wine to really like fit the ambience I've created in this tiny corner of my room, but I'm not. I'm drinking a Carlsberg, so cheers to that. If Carlsberg made BookTube videos, you finish the rest. Okay, let's move on with the tag. Okay, the first question is best book of 2021. I love that it's going straight in there with the big guns. No messing about. What's the best book? And I'm gonna do a real BookTube thing and not give you an answer. No, I am gonna give you an answer. I'm gonna give you two answers. The first answer is the best book I read with my eyes was No One Is Talking About This by Patricia Lockwood. Wow, what a book. I loved it. I loved everything about that book. I did. I'm going to say it. I'm going to put that out there. And I know it really divides opinion. And this is also one of the things I love about this book. Okay, so I'm not going to do like synopsis of the plot or the book because you can Google that. And I'm lazy and I don't think I'd be very good at it. So what I am going to tell you is like the major themes and what I felt about it and how it made me feel. Is that okay? So No One Is Talking About This. It's about the internet. It's about being consumed, I think, by anything, but specifically in this book, the internet. It's about what life feels like when you stop being consumed by something. And I do think that the themes are applicable wider than just the internet, but this book does focus on the internet. And in the first half of the book, Lockwood frequently makes this joke about the internet and internet humour and internet culture being very like, you had to be there, right? Like everyone on the internet feels like they know more than anyone else. Like it's internet humour wouldn't be funny to anyone else. Only I get it because only only I have consumed the unique amount of things on the internet that make that thing funny. But and what I think is interesting about the book is that whenever I see somebody that hates the book, I'm like, but you didn't get it. I got it. I loved it. And if you only got it, then you would love it. And that's what she's trying to say, right, about the internet. So maybe she's done that on purpose. I don't know. She's a clever woman. I think I just keep thinking about how much better I am than everyone else because I love this book and I got it. And I think that she's trying to say something in that first half of the book about how everyone gets it. Internet humour is humour. You're not special. And I feel that now. And that's what the second half of the book is very distinct from the first half. And I think the second half of the book is trying to get you to realise that you're not special. And there's nothing you can get on the internet that is more important than other things that are happening in your life. Because it can make you feel like that, right? The internet can be so all-consuming that you feel like it's the be-all and end-all. And, you know, on a basic level, she's saying it doesn't matter. And I think that this book could have been bad. There was plenty of subject matter in the second half that could have been mishandled, or treated insensitively. And I really think that if there was any insensitivity, it was because humans are insensitive. And I think that it was, I just loved it. Read that book. I'm so glad to see it nominated for so many things. And I will read whatever Lockwood puts out forever. Forever and ever. Love that. 10 out of 10 to that book. And moving on from that, the best book I have consumed, not with my eyes but with my ears, was Know My Name by Chanel Miller. Oh, Carlsberg break for that. What a book. And what a woman. I think that this book is so powerful, and I use that in the lamest way possible. You know how it's often, you know, people often call books about issues or about big themes or about big trauma powerful? That's what I'm doing, in the lamest way. It's powerful. It's powerful. She goes over some really difficult things. So Chanel Miller was Emily Doe in the Stanford swimmer rape case that consumed the media for a while a few years ago. And the book is about her navigating being a young woman, a creative young woman who wants to pave a way in a creative field while experiencing extreme amounts of trauma, not only from the event, but from the processes and systems and structures she has to navigate after that. And it is fascinating. I love books that talk about art and writing and what it means to create, and how women, as women, how we can do that. And that's what I really took from this book, is the story of somebody who has to create art, who has to. There's no other way. And if you're gonna read this book, listen to it, because Chanel reads the audiobook, and it really is the most impactful way to experience that story. Yes, loved it. Okay, the next question is best sequel, and I haven't read one, so we're just gonna move straight on from that. New release I haven't read yet. I don't know. What a great video. New release I haven't read yet. I mean, what we need to discuss here is that I am fairly new to reading lots of books, right? I've started reading lots last year, so there's many books I haven't read. In fact, I've basically not read all of the books, you know, if we're going in percentages. So I'm sure there are lots of new releases that I'm excited for. Specifically, I can't tell you. I can tell you one, obviously, the new Sally Rooney book. I didn't love Normal People, and I didn't love Conversations with Friends. So why am I obsessed? I'll tell you for why. I watched the TV adaptation of Normal People, and it's the best thing I've ever seen, ever. And I think I need to reread Normal People, because there was something that I wasn't getting, clearly, the first time I read it. So I'm excited for the next chapter in Sally Rooney's career. Carlsberg. Okay, let's shoot through these next ones. Biggest disappointment. Oh, BookTube. I'm gonna make you sad. My biggest disappointment this year was Eileen by Ottessa Moshfegh. Here's the deal. I picked that book up about 4 years ago in a charity shop when I didn't know who Moshfegh was. Since then, I'm going to call it Moshfegh Mania has overtaken BookTube, and I then got really excited that I had some Moshfegh on my shelves. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to pick this up. And I even waited until January of this year because I wanted to read it while it was snowing. I thought it would be a nice, cosy, snowy winter book. And that is the antithesis of what this book is. You need to know that it's not cosy. It follows a Moshfeghian woman, right? And I appreciated that. I appreciate books about shit women because we're shit and I want to read about it, right? Appreciate that. There were some things I didn't appreciate. Number one was how much they talk about weight, and the protagonist really has some issues with her weight, and she talks a lot about that. And if I had known that going into it, I wouldn't have read it. That's not Ottessa Moshfegh's fault, that's my fault. But it was very, don't want to say triggering. I'm going to say triggering. I was triggered. As a snowflake, I was triggered. I didn't love reading about that. Apart from that, like all of the gross stuff, kind of loved. Didn't mind that. What I will say is that I think that the plot of the book shouldn't have existed. It's not a thriller. It didn't thrill me. There was no like narrative thread of thrill to pull me through. It was very, if it was a character study and that was the point of the book, perhaps I could get on board with that, but something happens at the end of the book that's like the point of the book and it has no bearing. That could have happened to anybody, that plot. It's not you. I mean, it couldn't have. That's a lie, isn't it, Lucy? But I felt a little bit like it felt out of place to me. It felt out of place. It felt shoehorned in, and it felt. And here's what I love about BookTube is that I have no authority to give any of these opinions, and I'm going to anyway. I thought that it could have been edited. Okay, there's that one. Next question is, I've got a notebook. Biggest surprise. And my biggest surprise was I read Second Place by Rachel Cusk, and I adored it. And I'm not saying I'm surprised because I'd never read in Cusk before. And I wasn't surprised that I liked it because I knew I would. I was surprised that I loved it. And I was surprised at how, I think when you think about like big authors and the first time you read them, sometimes I think I want to read like their seminal work, right? The work that everyone talks about. You want to read their best. You want to get the best first impression. And I thought by reading her newest book that maybe it wouldn't be like top tier Cusk. And it was top tier Cusk. And if that isn't top tier Cusk, then I'm in for a treat with her backlist because I thought that book was spectacular. It did all of the things, it talked about all of the things that no one is talked about. About art, about women making art, who is allowed to exist. Exist like loudly, with a public. Who is the public allowed to know about in the art world? Who is allowed to create things that are worthy of being seen. Oh, it was just great. And now, nominated for a Booker. 1 Booker. Love that. Go Cusk. I'm so excited to read some more. As I said, I really am a bit of a baby in book reading terms. So you're going to see many backlist books coming up because I've got a lot to get through. And a lifetime to get through it in. Isn't that lovely? Cheers to that, Carlsberg. Okay. The next question is favourite new author. We've already mentioned them. Lockwood, Cusk, Chanel Miller. I'll read anything that she puts out. What a woman. I think she's going to have a long, illustrious career ahead of her. And I also read Trumpet by Jackie Kay. And I thought that book was amazing. And I will endeavour to read all of Jackie Kay's books, and especially her poetry. I saw Jackie Kay interview Angela Davis at the Cambridge Corn Exchange, and I didn't know who Jackie Kay was. Obviously I knew who Angela Davis was. I wasn't born in a hole. And she was so articulate, and she read some of her poetry that was inspired, that Jackie Kay had written poems while Angela Davis was in prison, and they were inspired by her, and it's just phenomenal. Anyway, would love to read some more Jackie Kay. The next question, fictional crush. I have 2. One is completely valid, and that is the husband from Second Place. He's like wearing those overalls, he's like growing those tomatoes in the garden. He could like build you a table. Do you know what I mean? He could build you a table. Yeah. And the second one you're not going to love, because even I don't love that I love this man. I read Exciting Times by Naoise Dolan, and the male love interest character in that book is a piece of shit, and I backed their relationship all the way. So perhaps I can explore that in therapy. I don't know. Next question is, who's my favourite character that I've read this year? And as I said, I read a lot of memoir, so I'm not going to pick a character, I'm going to pick a person, and that person is, oh, it is in the background, let's get it out. Dara McAnulty. He is, or was at the time of writing this book, a 15-year-old. Let's just repeat that again. He's 10 years younger than me. And he's written this book, and it's a diary. It's based on his diaries about living in Northern Ireland and being a naturalist and conservationist and environmental activist. And it is phenomenal. Dara is autistic, and I love reading about, you know, first person views, like own voices, stories about autism, because I think we're given so many not own voices stories, and I just think he's such a treasure, and we need to protect him like we do our environment. Okay, coming to a close here. A book that made you cry and a book that made you happy. I have picked one book for this, and that is Midnight Chicken by Ella Risbridger. Now, I'm just going to show you some of this book. That's a random page. So it's a recipe book. I think my best CBeebies bedtime story there. It's a recipe book. But it's so much more than that. It's like a memoir and a manifesto for how to live and love food, but also, I cried so many times, and it's the book that makes me the happiest. Opening any page makes me happy. Now, I'm a vegetarian, so there are a lot of recipes in there that I can't cook. Still bloody loved it. Honestly, And it makes such a good gift. And just look at that. That's foiling. It's this beautiful hardback. I think it makes the most wonderful gift because anybody would love this book. I've made the marital harmony sausage pasta many a time, and it has brought harmony to my relationship. Let's not call it a marriage, because it's not. And the last question is also the most beautiful book. I refer you to the previous answer. And that's it. That's the tag. I hope you enjoyed it. I had fun making it. It gave me something to do. I'd really like to talk books with people because I started reading books and nobody knows that I read, and and what's the point in doing things if you're not going to be congratulated on it? Thanks for watching. If you watched, maybe you didn't, I don't know. Maybe you're just watching this last bit to see if I make a fool of myself. I probably have. Bye.